feel like every battle is a battle both at work and at home, leaving you drained? I used to be there, bringing the toxic work environment home with me and venting to everybody who would listen about all of the stuff that's going on, the abuse and toxicity from work. Well, if you're not like that, maybe you're caught in a circle of endless conflict anyway, and you're craving for a way out, but you can't seem to find your way. Everywhere you turn, you have to battle with somebody. Well, imagine transforming these challenges into opportunities for growth and empowerment. Are you ready to see how you can do that? Hello, sophisticates. I'm Davina Dandridge, your guide through the often turbulent waters of workplace and home life tension. And they work together. You know, people say, I don't bring my work home. You do, whether you realize it or not. What happens to you at work and the emotions that go along with it, you bring it home. So today we'll discover how to harness your emotions, turning potential conflicts into moments of sophisticated empowerment. Okay. And the first step to doing that is by identifying root causes. You don't know how to solve something if you don't know why it begins. So, understanding where your tensions come from is crucial. Are they stemming from unvoiced or unmet expectations? And a lot of times, that can cause stress and tension in your life when you're expecting something that isn't going to happen for you, but it's not going to happen for you because you're not entitled to it, or it wasn't the right time, or you just had this expectation that isn't easily met. And maybe there's communication or other things around there that it has to be addressed, but nonetheless, you're not getting the result that you want and it causes tension. Okay. And or it could be that you have fears and you haven't yet recognized what those fears are. So, what I'll tell you is the only way for you to manage your emotions is to find out what they are. Maybe you haven't identified what the emotions are at all. Maybe you think the emotion that you're feeling is anxiety, and what you're really feeling is frustration. Okay. And maybe you think what you're feeling is fear, but it could be excitement because there is something new on the horizon. We all have the ability to have something new happen for us. And we can do that by managing our emotions and creating an environment that's conducive for the good things that we're looking for in our future. So, one way to do this, to kind of just pinpoint what's causing you all of this tension and stress, is to reflect and journal about it. And journaling doesn't have to be this big, long thing with this thick book like I thought it used to be. It could just be writing something down in a simple notebook. So don't go buy all these fancy journals. Go get you a notebook and write in it. Okay. And so, what you want to take note of are the moments that you have tension during the week. So if you come home and you just feeling all of this weight on your shoulders, where did it come from? You haven't seen your husband yet, and the kids are just getting home from school. Where is this stress coming from? You should identify it and write it down, and then figure out, what really triggered them. Was it an assumption? Was it an unmet expectation? Is it that someone wasn't listening to you, or was someone really putting pressure on you in a way that is abusive at work? And that happens. It's happened to me. The way that you change this triggered response, once you have identified that emotion, is by becoming an emotional planner. This is the first step towards change that needs to take place so that you can begin to master your emotions at work. Because if you're coming home and you haven't even met with your family yet, this tension has to go. We have to figure out a way to leave it at the door. You know, Tension at work can be self-imposed, but maybe it's just the machine. So I write in my book, Brains and Baubles Do What Works for You, that there comes a time when you have to make a decision about your work environment based on how it's making you feel, how it's causing you to have adverse emotions that don't benefit your future. Learn when it's time to transition. You can only do that by looking at what's triggering these emotions and this tension. When you master your emotions personally or at home, the results are greater and more fulfilling. If you find that you're yelling at the kids or you're snappy with your husband or you're withholding sex or you don't feel like cooking or cleaning, I get that. And that comes from stress because when you're feeling good, when things are working out and there's peace in your life, you find beauty in doing some activities at home. You welcome your children running in the door. You find yourself being more confident and sexy, and you want to have relations with your husband. I know I do. If everything is good, then everything is good, right? So, managing your emotions at home not only just benefits your children and your marriage, it also benefits the environment that you're in. You might find yourself decorating or hiring somebody to decorate. You might find yourself finding more opportunities for self care and even setting up a place in your home for self care. Look, it all works. Maya Angelou once said, I've learned that people forget what you said. Will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you make them feel. That goes for everybody that you come in contact with, personally and at work. And this underscores the power of your emotional responses and their lasting impact on the people in your environment. And it also shapes your environment. So we got to manage our emotions, but first we do that by pinpointing them. All right. And so the next thing is that you have to cultivate emotional resilience. Emotional resilience is your shield, enabling you to face any challenge. And you're going to have them daily. And you can do that without losing your inner peace. You learn to become assertive. One of the things you can do is incorporate a brief centeredness routine in your everyday life. So some people call it mindfulness. I call it centeredness. Like you're getting centered. You're finding the center, meaning that you can't go any further, but you need to have a starting point. And so you can start new every day. So once you incorporate a centeredness routine, that means that you can begin your day with a clean slate. You focus on grounding and centering yourself, even in the middle of all the chaos that you're going to face once you leave your house, right? Or once you go outside of your bedroom. You can prepare yourself by seeing how your emotions are going to be impacted and making a plan for managing those emotions. And it's not that you are saying, like, I know I'm going to feel this every day, because we operate in faith that if we change who we are, then our environment will change. And that's biblical. Then we know that that's not going to be the case for all of our time. But we can start right now making those things change. So we don't anticipate bad things and chaos happening once we leave outside the door or once we get to work, but we know that they are subject to. And so by having a daily routine, you get prepared. Anything that comes up, you'll be able to handle it. That's what resilience is all about. You don't let something knock you off your square to the point where you can't move forward, or it just ruins your whole day, or you take it out on someone else. But this routine should include prayer and contemplation and gratitude journaling. Because in the midst of chaos, we forget sometimes that we have been blessed, that we've come through things. We've been in other chaotic situations or turmoil at work or, something going on at home, and we have overcome it. So creating that routine reminds you of that too. You have things to be grateful for. So whatever you go to face during the day, you can handle it. Proverbs 15 says, a soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. This wisdom teaches us that the value of gentle communication helps to diffuse potential conflicts. I always talk about minimizing conflicts. And my mom actually came up with this term, and I call it purring. And typically, purring is used within inside of the marriage or when you're, talking to your significant other. But what it is a softer way of saying things. You put more thought in your responses because you want a favorable outcome and you don't want to diminish or hurt the emotions of the person that you are talking to. So purring is one of June's jewels. That's what I call it. And I have several of them in my book, Brains and Baubles. But she has those nuggets of wisdom that I have carried with me throughout my life. And so learning to know when and how to speak or address someone is paramount to setting up a good environment so that you can overcome hurdles and avoid conflicts if possible. But if you are in one, it helps to minimize. So pause for a moment and just consider this. How often do you let tensions dictate your actions? Like, how many times are you triggered and you have a triggered response? If you do nothing, or if you say that's just how it is, or it is what it is, or you might say, I am how I am, then you will not be the person who can live the life that you desire. You have to make a plan to do things differently in order to get a different outcome or a new outcome, one that you haven't even experienced yet, but you're planning for in the future. For deeper insights and strategies to help you to begin to manage your emotions and to get relief from all of that tension, check out my book, Brains and Baubles, Do What Works for You. It's available on my website, www.davinadandridge.com. And it's a treasure of wisdom like June's jewels on navigating life's complexity with grace. The third point, and this is what I have based my whole business around, is about the art of sophisticated empowerment. Sophisticated empowerment is the result of developing your emotional intelligence. So, true sophistication lies in your ability to transform tension into opportunities for personal growth and deeper connections. Sophistication matters in your transformation from being a person who's a triggered responder, accepting all of the tension that's being given to them, to transitioning to being an emotional planner, someone who has the skills and tools in their arsenal to be able to handle things that are going to come at them with grace. You have developed wisdom to be able to manage situations. You're resilient. So there isn't anything that you're going to cower from. In a sense, you have a way to manage your emotions so that you're an emotional planner. That's what sophistication is about. It's about being able to manage situations so that there is a win-win outcome, but mostly to manage situations so that in an unselfish way, you develop the environment that you want. And I say unselfish because you're not doing this to hurt anyone else. You're doing it as an act of self-care. You're doing this for yourself, and that's not selfish. So one way that you can do this, one way that you can start creating your future environment and seeing yourself in a different place, seeing yourself as being sophisticated and what sophisticated looks like to you, is to create a vision board. And what a vision board does is it represents the harmonious life that you want to live, the life of your future self. When you're thinking about this vision board, what I don't want you to do is edit the list based on how you see yourself right now or what you think you can do right now. Don't even base it on how you handle your triggers at this present moment. I want you to think that everything is achievable, and it is. It is. The things that you think about are the things that you bring into your life. So if you're only thinking about the negative things that surround you at work, or maybe some things that didn't work out the way that you want them to personally, or in your relationships or at home, the more you concentrate on those things, the more of that same type of environment that you're going to create. But once you start with a vision that's bigger than where you are now, with things that might be a little bit scary to you, the closer you can get to doing that. You know, Let this visual guide inspire you to daily actions to get to that future self. And let it be aligned with your sophisticated empowerment goals. Let it be aligned with the vision of who you are and who you're surrounded by and the activities that you want to do as your future self. So, on my vision board, and I've created several vision boards, I've used them to become the person that I am right now. My current vision board still has visions of myself as my future self. But on my past vision boards, and even on this current one, I start ticking boxes off, because by looking at this every day as part of my daily routine, my centeredness routine, I see myself as my future better self, better for me, not better uh, about anybody else's standards, better for me. And how else are you going to become the person who can do all of those things that you want to do without first knowing what it is that you want? And then, secondly, getting over some things that are causing you tension so that you can move forward and have resilience. So, the vision board is the key to really helping you get some of this tension off of your back. All right. We've explored the roots of tension, the importance of resilience, and the path to sophisticated empowerment. Each step is a building block toward a life where the conflict becomes the catalyst for growth. You take that thing that is negative and once caused you tension and make a plan to turn it around. Other people do not dictate how you feel. And in your future, that won't be an issue for you. You'll no longer respond out of pressure or anger or fear. You know why? Because you will be becoming your sophisticated, empowered self to create and curate the environment that you want in your future. In our journey today, we unlock the secrets to thriving in the face of tension at work and at home. But remember, every challenge is an opportunity in disguise. If you're committed to a path of emotional empowerment, don't forget to subscribe and join my community of sophisticates. Together, we can redefine what it means to navigate life's tensions with elegance and poise. Until next time.